22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to a special edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour. Today we got a great show. I know if everyone's heard about what's happened to Kela tennis. There was a lawsuit. They won, and a large judgment was granted to Kela. Today we're going to have Kela and his attorney on, and I'm going to get right into it. Welcome, Attorney James Borkowski. Did I say your name right?
You did, AJ. Good to be with you.
Yes. And Kela of Kela Tennis. How you doing, gentlemen?
Hi, AJ.
Yes. So first, let's start with the most recent. There was a lawsuit that in your favor, and there was a judgment of $9.4 million, and with interest that could be about $15 million. Let's start with that. Let's talk about the whole judgment.
You're exactly right, AJ. We finished up a two-part trial last week in which a Westchester County jury found for Kela Tennis against the city of Mount Vernon that they breached their license agreement with Kela Tennis, Inc. And you got the numbers exactly right. It's almost $9.4 million in damages, and with statutory interest, that's over $15 million judgment against the city of Mount Vernon.
Now, I mean, I had the controller on recently, giving kind of like a financial forecast of the city. Coming from the last controller, most people did not know where we were financially, and I gave Dr. Morton a chance to get in the office, look at everything, and he came on Sunday night and explained where the city is, and he basically the city. I don't want to say it's broke, but is strapped for cash, and it's a shame that it came to this, because with the one of the articles said that could be a 30% increase in taxes. Yeah. So, was there? Well, let's go back to the beginning. What actually happened? Y'all had the tennis center in Memorial Field. Memorial Field was still in the process of being built, but the tennis center was actually open and functioning. And I'll let you just tell the story for those who didn't, that still don't know what happened.
Kela, do you want to take this one?
No, go ahead, James.
Okay, so the story is that for those who don't know Kela Simunyola, he is one of the best known and most gifted tennis coaches in the Northeast. He's known internationally. His students have competed around the world. In fact, his granddaughter, Ligaya Murray, is hopefully about to be playing in the Grand Slams He's absolutely gifted and one of the finest men that I've ever met in my life. And that's not hyperbole. So Kela was the winner of an RFP, a request for proposal, to build a tennis center at Memorial Field back in 2015. The city solicited him to build the tennis center, and the way that it was supposed to work is that Kela was responsible for erecting a tennis bubble where the courts would be housed, and Mount Vernon was supposed to build a clubhouse directly adjoining the bubble. And Kela was supposed to have 5 businesses running out of there, and also a very, very large community component where he was going to host clinics and give free lessons and help develop kids in the Mount Vernon community. So from the get-go, Mount Vernon broke its word. It did not build the clubhouse in a timely fashion. And even when it did, as one of the jurors said afterwards when I spoke to the jury, it was a parade of horribles as far as what Mount Vernon didn't do. When they finally did build the steel skeleton for the clubhouse, it had defective steel. The concrete was defective. It was just one thing after another and lie upon lie from Mount Vernon, where Kela could only operate one of the 5 businesses that he was supposed to be operating. He did have the tennis lessons in the bubble, but there was supposed to be a concession stand, a pro shop, a fitness center, an event space, and a gym. So fast forward 3 years later, Mount Vernon still couldn't they weren't competent enough to build a clubhouse. And enter Mayor Richard Thomas, who we know is an admitted convicted criminal. And Mayor Thomas had other plans as far as developing Memorial Field. And he wanted to have an 8-lane track for competitive events and so forth. And he tried to convince Kela to move the tennis center further back in Memorial Field so that he could have that 8-lane track. Now, at that point, Mount Vernon in 3 years couldn't even build a clubhouse. So Kela was within his rights to say, no, I decline. I want to stay where I've got this license agreement. I'm within my legal rights. So then Mount Vernon tried to come up with all kinds of excuses to evict Kela. They said he owed rent when he didn't owe rent. In fact, Mount Vernon owed him money. They said that the grandstands posed a danger. They didn't. It was just one thing after another. We described it as Mount Vernon was just throwing spaghetti against the wall to try to get Kela out. And when Kela didn't go along with them, and as I said, he was well within his rights to stay there. When he didn't go along with them, the night of June 1st, 2018, Mount Vernon just demolished the business. They demolished it in the middle of the night. Darren Morton, who's now the controller and was then the Parks Department director, he didn't even know about it. The DPW head didn't even know about it. The city council didn't know about it. This was the doing of Richard Thomas and Lawrence Porcari, the corporation counsel. As I said, Mr. Thomas admitted to stealing from his campaign contributors as a convicted criminal. Mr. Porcari, as we talk, is now in a jail right now in upstate New York for also stealing money from the city's water fund.
Wow. So let me go back a little bit. So I know some of the things that, well, I was there. I got the call when it happened. Had to be after 12, maybe probably closer to 1 when I got a call. And someone was like, I'm coming to pick you up now. And we went over there. And so one of the things that I remember, it was the first time I met Kela. I was introduced to him. I was telling him who I was. And we talked for a minute. And he looked me in my face and he said, what do you do when the people that are supposed to protect you are stopping you from being violated or for your business being, and I really didn't. I looked at him. I really did not have an answer for him.
Yeah,
like
there were 9 police cars who were secretly assigned to protect the demolition crew. So right. Exactly, when Kela tried to find out what was going on, he was physically escorted off the property.
And then police stood in the way so he could not get back in. Kela, do you remember when I first met you, that conversation we had? Do you remember?
Yes. I first have to thank you for putting me on, and James. And my family, I have family in Mount Vernon, and I've worked with Mount Vernon for a long time, even when we were at Lake Ohio. So I've respected the people around, and I've been around Mount Vernon for a long time, even helping some of the kids in Mount Vernon who went to college and had scholarships from there. And when we came into Mount Vernon, actually, if you look back, you're gonna see that Mount Vernon won the state championships in tennis, not once but twice, for the short period of time we were there. So that's a huge advantage that the kids, all those kids, had scholarships and went and in college and finishing soon. That's something that we were hoping to continue and work with everybody. So just Mount Vernon has had a heart for me, just knowing and having family who live in Mount Vernon.
And I don't want to relive everything. You know, I know it could be painful, but just can you share? You get the call that they're coming to demolish or deflate or tear down the bubble or whatever. You get there, you're being stopped. Just explain what's going through your mind, what you felt. Just, you know, I could write it, but I mean, I want people to hear it from you.
Just it was a struggle just to get the bubble going and to get the structure put up. As James was saying, we used our money to get all that done. Waiting for the 9 courts to be done, we had 6. Waiting for the 5 businesses, we had 1. Waiting for the structure to be built and the bubble to be connected to the building wasn't done. So we completed all that, and we did extra that I even sold our club in Florida to be able to purchase the bubble. I sold my car to be able to pay for all that going on. And then just at night, June 1st, that is damage is just very difficult to comprehend in that sense that everything is put in to help this thing come up. And we put in our money to help it done, and then just done in such a way it was disturbing.
And then there was, I don't know if it was after the fact. I guess you were trying to go into your office part, and the cops were trying to evict you. I remember covering the story because that is not how evictions work.
Yes.
You know, you need to go to court. You can't just put someone out. There was a couple of illegal businesses trying to be shut down. My partner Damon K. Jones, his wife's shop, daughter's shop, Cupcake Cutie, and thank you for coming through that day.
Yes.
Was one of the businesses. But you know, we've always been on the side of due process. You didn't get your due process, which would be some sort of papers would be served. You would have a court date. You would have your say in court, and then a judge would rule. Now, if the judge rules in favor for you to be evicted, then paperwork goes to a sheriff. We have a marshal, the marshal's office, because I went and called the marshal's office to find out what the process was. Then they would, you know, schedule a day to come and do the eviction. But that didn't happen. They were just telling you had to leave, and people can see the video. We have the video on Black Westchester of the officers telling you have to leave, and you're asking for some kind of paper or something, document saying that you're being evicted. And you said, I have a right to see that. And they were like, no, you don't have the right to see nothing. You just leave. I'm telling you to leave. And take us through that part. That had to be traumatic for you as well.
It's some of it is not what's said, but how it was said. That having my wife there, and she's being pushed around, and she was just about to have lunch, and just the way they were pushing us, and no respect of my wife there. We'll leave listening to the police to take us out in a certain way, and just the way it was being done, it was very rude, and that I couldn't believe watching how they were pushing my wife around. It's just disturbing. We went out, we went upstairs and wait there. We didn't have paperwork. Everything was taken. Everything under the bubble was destroyed. The computers, the baskets, tennis equipment, golf cart, everything was destroyed. That we couldn't even, they didn't even give us time to even get our stuff from the office. So whatever was done with our cameras and the computers, I'm not even sure what happened. There's so much equipment that was lost in the trailers.
Now, and I bring all this up for a reason and take us back. We're in a culture now where everybody's just suing for something. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to paint the picture. You didn't just arbitrarily just want to sue the city. You know what I'm saying? This is
No. It's been a while that we could have thought about doing that to the city from the beginning, where none of the work was done. We walking in, spent our money already, bought the bubble. You don't buy that kind of a bubble of 700,000, and then suddenly it's not done. There was things to be done, but it wasn't finished. We could have thought about that, but a few years went by, but we still went on trying to make it work. So we were not thinking of trying to sue the city. It's something they pushed us into it.
So now we're at a point, James, where a lawsuit, and you filed the way you do a lawsuit. You file some papers, you go to court. I'm sure there's times for. It's usually time for some kind of negotiation or something. Was there any negotiation with the city?
Yes. The city took a no pay position up until right at the beginning of the trial. And the first they said you can't get blood from a stone. The city doesn't have the money to pay any settlement. And I did watch your interview with Darren Morton on your website. And I'm not questioning Mr. Morton's integrity. I would never do that. But what he said to you was really a half-truth, to be generous. The city, once it was obvious that the city was about to lose the case on the liability portion of the trial, the city made an offer of $1.2 million, which we were told was the full amount of their litigation contingency budget. And we rejected that offer. And what we proposed was that a payment plan for the city. We understand that the city is strapped. We understand that the finances are hard and that the police are leaving in droves. But by the same token, we wanted to give them an opportunity to have a 5-year payment plan. $1.2 million in the first year, a total package of $7.5 million was our number. And the remainder, after the $1.2 million was paid, would be spread out over the succeeding 4 years. So when Mr. Morton and the mayor claimed that the 1.2 was all they could pay, that's not really the case. We tried to work with them, but we never heard back. And now instead of $7.5 million, due to the mayoral malpractice of Sean Patterson Howard in sticking her head in the sand and refusing to continue negotiations, instead of $7.5 million, we now have a judgment against Mount Vernon for double that amount.
Wow. And I saw that you said that in your statement, mayoral malpractice of the mayor. A lot of people, of the current mayor, Sean Patterson Howard, a lot of people would say this happened before her watch. This happened in the previous administration. Like, she's not responsible for that. What do you mean when you say mayoral?
Well, the way I see it, there are two people principally responsible for the catastrophic jury verdict against Mount Vernon. It's Richard Thomas, who was the criminal who knocked down the bubble, along with his criminal counsel, corporation counsel, Lawrence Porcari. They're the ones who did it on behalf of the city of Mount Vernon. But by the same token, Sean Patterson Howard is equally responsible because she could have settled this case for, as I said, now half the amount. She could have protected the citizens and the taxpayers of the city of Mount Vernon, and she didn't lead. It's failed leadership. So I would lay the blame at the feet of both Richard Thomas and Sean Patterson Howard.
I never heard about the negotiation, the offer. Someone saying the same thing I just said. That's very interesting. I'm glad the truth about the negotiations are coming to light. I never heard. That's Mount Vernon PBA president Nicholas Mastro. I was gonna say I've never heard the story of the offer of accepting the 1 point, whatever it was, 2, and then payments for the 7 going over.
That's the part that Mount Vernon didn't want to tell you. And I'll go one step further as far as the mayor. I can tell you, and I won't name names, but during the negotiations, this is all about the election year this year. And politicians, they only think about getting reelected, and then they'll deal with it after the election, I was told by a senior member of the administration, and I quote, "We can explain a jury verdict. We can't explain a settlement." So this is all a big component of this is politics. And that has not been told to the Journal News or anybody. You're hearing that first. We were told that during negotiations. Now, that the administration could explain a jury verdict. They can blame it on the jury, but they couldn't explain a settlement.
It's ironic that no fault of their own that the administration used the police department to keep you from out of the area while a contractor, not the city, but a contractor came and tore that down. Those were not city employees. That was not DPW that did that. That was a separate contractor that was there. And now, we're in a situation where, you and I were talking before, the police is at, the lowest paid police department. They've been working without a contract. The city said they have no money to pay them. And now, on top of needing them to be paid and probably brought up to a comparable salary, we have this $15 million payment that is, I guess it would have to be a one lump sum now when payments could have been made. And it's unfortunate. And it's not the only one, because I think there's a settlement, or there's a Mega Beverage. There's a situation, Mega Beverage. I don't know if that's settled yet. But
no, I think there was a judgment. I think it's about $2.5 million.
Right. And the sad thing is, if they're brought up, because we went from 9 to 15 because of interest or whatever. How's that? Mega Beverage was before that, so I can imagine what the interest on that's going to be, and for that situation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're very, very cognizant of the fact that Mount Vernon was strapped, and I understand that the police are public safety, and we're not looking. We have no qualm with the citizens of Mount Vernon, the taxpayers. The problem is with the politicians who are running the government. They are not serving their constituents well and not protecting them. As I said, they could have settled this case for half of the judgment over a 5-year payment plan. I think that was pretty reasonable, but that they didn't want to do it, and these are the consequences.
I want to change the subject a little bit. I wanted to, and this interview was not. This is just the timing of the lawsuit and the judgment. This is not. You got to kind of say these things. This was never meant to be an attack on the administration going into an election. This is not a political whatever. This is the news as it happens. So it just happens that it happened during a campaign season. I wanted to give Kela a lot of credit. While he was trying to figure out what he was going to do, I think he still has some people that he was training or working with. And I see video of him working in the garage across the street, working on, serving, showing the girl how to serve using the wall. And I'm like, you still kept doing that for a minute, you know what I mean? For the people that you had. And I was amazed by that. Like, a lot of people would just be like, F it, and not doing anything. You kept working with some of the kids there. And using, like I said, using the garage and the wall, and you were serving, and I watched the video of those. I was like,
yes, AJ, not just that time, but those kids, I still have them up to now. And James asked one of the Mount Vernon who was on the witness stand what happened to the kids and the senior citizens and the members who were coming to play tennis. He asked them what happened to the members who were playing at Mount Vernon. Nobody has that answer of what happened, but we had to find a place for them to go. We found locations for them at Lake Isle, Harbor Island, Carrie Leeds, Randos Island. So we spread them around for the kids to continue playing and just have scholarships for them to continue. And I have kids who were 5 years old then and still playing with me right now, and the kids from Mount Vernon. And some of it last year, the high school tennis was asking me that they had no kids to play, but we have kids who are coming up to age and will be playing for the high school tennis this coming fall, who started then when the bubble was pushed down. And now we could have had many kids playing for the high school already, but now it's happening. But somebody could have thought about the players who were when the bubble came down. What do we do for them? And we still have them right now. So
okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know, there was a lot of talk like, why do we need tennis? And it's for kids outside of our community. The kids of our community wasn't getting no benefit from it, because that was what the narrative was being put out. And I know it's good to show our kids different things. We have basketball, we got football, we got track. Some people are into soccer, but to give kids something to experience that they never experienced before, to know that there's something else out there. That's kind of what you were doing with the whole tennis thing.
And the advantage of that is just being able to get scholarships for the kids in many other sports. And we've been doing this, and we have over 3,000 people who've gone into school. And why not some of the kids in Mount Vernon? And the kids that told you won the state, they had scholarships in school, and they're from Mount Vernon. And a lot of the kids continue to do that. But just to be able to find other things, and the advantage of tennis is nobody's selecting you, but based on how you perform, how you set your ranking, how you set your UTR, everything puts you in a spot where you have the choice of where you want to go because of your ranking. So then that's an advantage that we're not waiting for being selected. So it's a good thing that kids could have other choices who want to play tennis or play basketball or track or any other squash or any other thing. It's an advantage that the kids could go into school and less money they have to pay for.
Okay, Kela's too modest to say this, but he has helped countless kids from underprivileged backgrounds in Mount Vernon, the Bronx, and elsewhere get full scholarships to colleges. In fact, at one point, Kela's kids were the captains of the tennis teams at Harvard, Yale, and Columbia.
Wow.
Yeah.
They actually went at one time. I remember the recruiting season came in, and I had a few kids who were going into college, and I called Harvard. They came to Mount Vernon. Princeton came. Yale came. Columbia came. And we divided 2 hours in between each one of them to see the players. That's a huge advantage for the kids to have that opportunity. That they're all coming. The coaches are actually coming to Mount Vernon to see the players.
So these kids are being picked on merit, not privilege. It's the way it should be.
Wow. Now, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want the residents of Mount Vernon to know, either about the lawsuit, how it went down, anything, any other maybe misinformation, or anything you need to clear up, you felt that might need to be cleared up?
Kela?
For me, as I said, it's Mount Vernon. I have family in Mount Vernon, and I've been around with a lot of people I know from there, and I have kids I'm working with right now. We have nothing against Mount Vernon. This is a situation we were pushed into to be done. We tried to get it worked together, and we had many meetings which went on to get this done. But we were pushed into it, so it's not something we wanted to do.
James,
I can just say that in 35 years of litigation, I've never been prouder to represent a client. Kela and his wife, Lagaya, and his daughter, Kylene Murray, are just such wonderful, wonderful people. I'm normally not a praying kind of guy, but we would have a prayer circle every morning before we went into the courtroom. And I got to tell you, that lifted us all up, and it helped me, I think, be a better attorney, and justice was done here.
Right. And I don't want to harp on this, but I just want to reiterate while this $15 million has to be paid in a one lump sum and it's going to hurt the city, you gave them an out before that, before there was a ruling, before there was a judgment, to take what they actually had available now. Because that's what even the controller explained, that was all that was kind of available now. And you were willing to take like 7 something, but have it split over 5 years, and where it wouldn't have had hurt the city. And the city said no. Now this was before the ruling, right? This was
That's correct.
before. Okay, because I think something was said that they made this offer. That no, they said something about that y'all are having this conversation, but they didn't let us know that it was before. That all of this was before a judge ruled on anything. That
That's
the city,
right. AJ, we're the ones who proposed the payment plan, not even the city. We were trying to work with the city. We were very much aware of what their financial situation was. So we're the ones who proposed the 5-year payment plan, and we never heard back. Crickets.
Yeah, that's I have a problem with that, and I think every resident and taxpayer, upon hearing about this, was going to have a problem with that as well. And it's a shame, again, not to throw unnecessary shade on the previous mayor who is actually running again too. These are the actions, some of his actions that are causing us these lawsuits. Mega Beverage, your lawsuit, and I think there might be a couple more pending, and some that have already been settled from his time in office. And I mean, that has to be considered. I'm not telling people who to vote for. I'm not supporting anybody. I'm not endorsing anybody. But these things should probably be considered when you go when you go to vote. That's
I used to live in Mount Vernon on East Prospect Avenue, but I don't live there now. I have no skin in the game as far as politics in Mount Vernon, but it didn't have to be this way. And you have the current mayor to thank for that.
That I think a lot of people may not have known, because it was always said it was all Richard Thomas. So I guess hopefully what we do, we try to get to the facts on this show. We try to put the facts out there. We try to cut through all the rumor and innuendo and misinformation, and hopefully this is going to give voters something to consider, so they make more informed decisions when it comes time to vote. Any last words, Kela, James? Anything? What now? So, Kela, where are you now? Did you open another tennis center or base of operations, or are you just working out of a bunch of different places, or what?
No, the original place we moved to that time, June 1st, we came to Harbor Island Sport Time, and that's where I am, and working with them for right now. So, and most of the kids who want to play, they still come here and they see me, and I try to arrange something for them that they could afford to play tennis around Westchester. So that's
for any parents. Sorry to interrupt you. For any parents that might have wanted to take advantage of your services when you were here, but maybe still want to introduce their kids to what you're doing, how do they get in touch with you? Is there their company they can call? What do they do?
Yes. If they just talk to me, or they email me, or just even call me at sport time, I could arrange something for them, arrange somewhere for them to play. So that's something easy to be done with. Also, the USCA does help kids and find a place for them. So that's something I already do. So, if they want to get in touch with me, we'll get it done.
So even after the city of Mount Vernon, basically the administration, but the city of Mount Vernon violated you, destroyed your business, you're still have no ill will towards Mount Vernon and still willing to help any Mount Vernon kids that want to get involved in tennis. And I think that's admirable. Some people would just be like, would really want to have nothing to do with the city after the city did that to them.
I think kids are kids. We got to take care of the kids. And even Thomas has his own kids. So we got to take care of all the kids. So it's something which continues, even if you go online and um, my brother is helping kids. He just built tennis and a school for the kids in Africa, and they're doing that right now. So anywhere, in any place, kids are kids. We gotta create opportunities for them.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. My partner Damon couldn't be here because he's working. He switched from nights to days, so he's still working. But he did want me to thank you when he was going through what he was going through with his daughter's shop. You and your whole family showed up to stand with him and his family, and take pictures and just be there and support.
Yes.
And he wanted me to let you know that he greatly appreciate that, and he'd never forget that. Like,
Thank you. Thank you.
You were going through your own thing. You probably had no reason to even come through Mount Vernon and be seen in Mount Vernon, but you came through and stood with his family when they were being violated afterwards, when his rights were being violated, and he wants you to know that he appreciates that.
Yeah.
Any last words, James?
No, that just tells you everything you need to know about Kela. He's just a fine man, and he bears no ill will against anybody. And I'm proud to be his attorney.
And after this is over, if y'all can email me whatever contact Kela wants the people to have, for kids to get in touch or parents to get in touch, I'll put it under the video on the website so people can contact you. And
yes.
I wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry that you had to go through this. I'm really sorry. Overall, the residents of Mount Vernon lose again. I mean that's the kids lose again, and those are two of the areas that we're having issues with the way the state of the city is right now. So
yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. This has been a special edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour with Kela and his attorney James Borkowski. Did I say it right again? That's it.
You did. Thanks, AJ. Good being with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, AJ.
All right. You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the special edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour. We had the controller Darren Morton on our regular scheduled Sunday show, People Before Politics. You've heard the mayor address the situation, and as always, we try to get all sides out and let you, the viewer, the readers, make your own decisions out. Thank you all for who tuned in. This will be posted on Black Westchester on the website. So for those who missed it, until next time. Oh, and don't forget the next stop. A couple of things. Next stop on the Black Westchester library tour. I will be at Mamaroneck Public Library this Saturday, April 22nd. From 2 to 4, and also as the second vice president of the Mount Vernon branch of the NAACP, we will be hosting a school board candidate forum Friday, April 28th at 6:30 at the Dole Center. Come out, hear from the candidates. So when you go and cast your ballot, you can make an informed decision. Shout out to Jesse Van Loo and Save Mount Vernon for always fighting for the city. They had a rally yesterday. That'll be up on the website. I'm sure there's other things coming up. I can't remember. That's it. But remember, if you're available, come out and see me Saturday for my new book, Black Westchester Celebrates Black Women of Westchester, will be available. The first book, Black Westchester, The Origin Story, will also be available. If you haven't got a copy and you're not around town, you can always order both copies on Amazon. That's it for me. Until next time,